All right, so this is gonna be the last video I do today. Again, making a whole bunch of these, and as we go, the quality will increase bit by bit. But this is the last one I'm doing today. Just briefly talking about the idea of key signatures. So again, if you're watching all of these come out, I've mentioned, just how sound works, the idea of pitch and scales and key, and what all is that. Well, the key of something is essentially the home base of it musically. So it's the kind of the main tonal area. So the main scale that something happens to use throughout here, and it can use different ones that it change throughout different pieces as well. But generally, um, this scale, say we have a piece in C, the main chords that make up this song will all use notes coming C major scale, or something. If something's in E minor, it'll all come out of the E minor scale, and so on and so forth. Again, that's really broadly speaking, and that is by no means a hard rule. We'll see as we go along that you can easily take notes from other scales, and that can get a little confusing if you're new to analyzing music. But let's put a pin in that before I go too far down that rabbit hole and just talk about key signatures. So you're going to see this a lot in music, this key signature, especially again if your music has a key that it's in. And what this is essentially a symbol, a collection of flats or sharps at the beginning. Uh, it's always, at least at the very beginning of the first line of music. Ideally, it should be at the beginning of each staff, but it does sometimes vary. Um, but you'll see this, and this will tell you what should be assumed to automatically be sharp or flat. All right. And it helps if I click on the thing. There we go. So again, this tells the performer key to play in. And there are a total of 12 different ones. We'll see them all in just a second, but again, there's this symbol. It's a collection of um, several flats or several sharps that just tell play the music. Um, that way, we don't need um, an accidental in front of every single note to tell us this one's natural, this one's flat, this one's sharp. We can kind of condense some of that into the key signature, bit of ink. All right, so you'll notice, actually didn't have any pictures here. That again, I mentioned that these symbols are a collection of flats and sharps. Um, appear in a certain order. The flats appear on the lines and spaces in this order: B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Um, and that's just the order they appear. A key signature with three flats, it's always going to be B flat, E flat, A flat. It's always going to be that. It's always going to be in that order. If you see one with five, it'll be those three plus D flat, and always going to be those. Um, to tell what the key is, what the tonic is with the key signature, look at the note that's the second to last flat. All right, that's the tonic. So let's use that three flat example. So B flat, E flat, A flat. The second to last one is that E flat. You're in the key of E flat major. Um, all right, if you're in the where this gets a little weird is the key, because that only has one flat. But if you have one flat on the B flat here, well, the one next to that, if you go all the way back to the beginning, that would be F. That's how you can go about that. We'll see some examples of these images in just a second. Um, I probably jumped into this recording a tad too soon, but we're going with it. Sharp keys function very similar, but they have their own unique. And the sharp symbols will appear in the order on the lines and spaces F, C, G, D, A, E, B. I don't know if you noticed the similarity between the two. One more. And then here again. So what this is the order of sharps is the order of flats. All right, that's the pattern there. So again, you're always going to see in a sharp key signature, the sharps will appear in this order. Now to tell what the key is, you're going to find sharp that was listed, move up 1/2 step. That's the key you're in. So if our key signature has 4 sharps, so we have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, half step from D sharp is E. You're in E major. If you have 1, that's the F sharp. You go up a half step to G, you're in G major. That's that. All right. Last bit before we actually look at symbols and get a little practice with that is that a major and minor key can share a key signature. All right. And we'll talk about this more when we go over minor scales specifically. Just know that the key C major is the same for A minor. And the way you can tell this is the relative minor, that's what it's called, is the 6th scale degree of that. D major and F sharp minor. Did I get that right? No, I got that one wrong, actually. That should be B minor. That's going to bug me. I'm going to fix that right now. Sharps and D's backwards. There we go. I got that right in the next one. That's kind of funny. Anyways, the 6th scale degree. So if I went in B flat major up scale degree, that would be G. The key of G minor naturally has all of the same notes as B flat major. And again, we'll talk about this more in minor scales and modes and things like that. Just know that that can be the something, and it says etude and B minor, but you only see 2 sharps. That's what's going on. All right, the circle of fifths, and our first look at the key signatures. So we can arrange all of these into what I find useful diagram. And essentially this, if you go clockwise around the circle here, you'll see that these are arranged. So C up 5 scale degrees is G, up 5 from G is D, up 5 from D is A, and so on and so forth. And we can see this relationship. This will help us see closely related versus not. So, C major has a lot of notes in common between, F and G major. B notes in common between F sharp and E. So you can see that C major does not have a lot in common with, C sharp, A flat, or G flat. There's not, if any, very few common notes. And that can be very helpful for working out your keys and, how they're related and things of that nature. As you can see here, these are the key signature symbols that appear right after but before the time signature. And again, you should see these on every line of music, at the very least at the first line when the key is relevant, but it should be on every line of music. I'm going to die on that hill. All right. But you see that these appear in that order I talked about. F, F sharp, C sharp, G, D, A, E, yeah, B, right there. All in order. So you can see F it goes by fifths. If we go around this way, it's the same, but the order is backwards with the flats. That just tells us what line or space to see this symbol. What key to play in. And as you get more used to that, you'll be able just to identify them. That's actually where I am at this point in my education. I had to sit down and think how they all went as opposed to just knowing them and doing it, which was a weird experience. But anyways, you'll see that it's always this order here, and it's always the zigzaggy pattern. So we start with nothing and we go up. I'll look down this one. This kind of up down to zigzag order, just because that helps. You're always gonna have this top line for the F sharp and this space for the C. It's always going to be on that one. You're never going to put the F sharp here down on another space. It's always going to be also on the circle of fifths. You can see the minor keys, and if you go around this way, the counterclockwise, you'll see it's in fourths. Um, so that's there. All right, so let's wrap thing. I had to change the background so the images would pop up better. But just identifying these key signatures. These are again some of the simplest, most common ones, and this is where we're starting with the class before we jump into more advanced ones. Looking at this, we see no sharps, no flats, nothing here. This is C major or A minor, but I'll use major for all these. This is C major. Moving this one here, you'll see that we've got a single sharp. So we go to this, the last sharp. You can either remember what this is, or if you look at the final one here, this is F on the F line, F sharp to G. This is the key signature for the key of G major. This one down here, I mentioned before, a bit of a tricky one. You can just remember that this is F, or again, you go to the second flat. Well, there's no flats here, so you'd have to go all the way back to the end. So F would be the next to last one if you were just to write this in a repeating pattern. So this would be F major. There's another flat here on the E space. We'd go to the second to last one down here. That would be B flat. We'd be at the key of B flat major. And again, I've got these kind of listed out here. Since there's only one, go to the previous one at the end of the line, F major. And that's really it. It takes a lot of practice in remembering what is and isn't in the key. Off there. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. All that, let me know, and I will get to those. So I didn't do this in the other videos, but again, all the YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, all the things. You know how it goes. But I'm gonna wrap it out here. Again, another relatively short video, just introducing the idea that key signatures are a thing, so that way you don't have to put the channels in front of every single note. They have a set pattern to them, depending on either sharps or flats. If you ever see sharps and flats in a key signature, that's weird. Never done. And harmonic spelling is what'll come in handy there. They always have the same pattern, the same order of the sharps and flats, and the circle of handy way to arrange all of them and kind of see what they are. I've got this bright, colorful one here. And then we just ended by looking at a few of the most common ones. These are the top 3 on the graph right here. So yeah, that's going to be it.